Hit every other recording. There you go.
Do we have a motion to approve, to discuss and approve Board of Trustee minutes from August 13, 2025?
Move to approve.
Motion by Owen. Second by Sine. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Board of Trustee minutes from August 13 passes. Any public comment?
One public comment on an agenda item.
Okay.
When we call the agenda item.
All right, so on to unfinished business. Motion to discuss and approve Resolution 2025-19, a resolution of the Village of Poplar Grove, Illinois, resolving to accept quote from Civic Plus to activate subscription to social media archive.
Approve resolution 2020.
Motion by Owen,
Second.
second by Dave. Any discussion on this item?
So is this the backup like Facebook comments and stuff like that?
Yes. Yes.
You say that once in how many years?
Carry the screen behind us, is it?
Yeah, she's working on
Oh,
it.
okay, sorry.
She's working on it.
$35, 59.80. Is this, are we required to do this?
I don't believe so. It's just, it's basically a Facebook.
Get the CYA in case. It's a CYA. Up to you guys.
CYA cover your due date.
If somebody,
Do we have a, I thought we don't have it available on the pages.
It backs all of ours up,
That's all your, like, if you
our
have
own
a,
Facebook pages.
But if someone had a complaint of something that we posted, they would screenshot it or they would,
Maybe they can delete whatever
they
they,
can delete, that's the problem.
Elected officials have been sued for deleting comments and have settled
we don't comment.
on our own pages.
so like, for example, I have my Facebook page that says,
Pages.
can you get a trustee
My
page?
personal page is my,
No, you're not,
no,
your
it's like a trustee
trustee,
page.
your
We get a
trustee
trustee
page.
page.
I don't have a trustee page.
I know that. See what you get for missing the meetings?
So basically, Christie's the only one that's got a page.
Okay.
No, oh,
Good discussion.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Jeff Goings,
No.
Dan Cheek,
No.
Dave Allgood,
Yes.
Owen Costanza,
Yes.
Sine Hubbard.
No. Okay, resolution 2025-19 does not pass.
I'd say to the taxpayer, $3,559.80.
Do we have a motion to discuss and approve resolution 2025-20, resolution of the Village of Poplar Grove, appointing Sine Hubbard to the Village Ad Hoc Communications Committee?
Move to approve 2025-20.
Motion by Owen, second by Jeff. Any discussion on the item?
Good job.
Are you ready for this?
To the jump.
May we have a roll call, please, then?
Jeff Goings,
Yes.
Owen Costanza,
Yes.
Dan Cheek,
Yes.
Sine Hubbard. Yes. Dave Allgood.
Yes.
Resolution 2025-20 passes. Thank you, Ms. Sinay. Appreciate that. Motion to discuss and approve ordinance 2025-22, an ordinance of the Village of Poplar Grove amending Title 6, Chapter 2 of the Village of Poplar Grove Code of Ordinances regarding billing, dishonored checks, and right to appeal.
Move to approve 2025-22.
Motion by Owen,
Second.
second by Dan. Discussion on this item. Who would like to start?
I could, if that's okay.
Yep, please. Reference.
So I took the ordinance and made some changes following the comments of the board from the last meeting that I attended. You'll note that in paragraph 3A, I have stricken the $50 and just put a blank in there. So I will be looking for the board to give me some feedback on what that benchmark amount is that you would be looking for, that would then prompt that disconnection notice to be sent to service residents. Again, right now it's $50. So looking for some feedback from the board on what you would want that amount to be. In paragraph 4B, we're just changing the word NSF to dishonored check because we've had some situations where a check was returned, not necessarily non-sufficient funds, but was dishonored for other reasons. So we just want to make sure that that's clear. Again, in paragraph 5A, just looking for, again, that benchmark amount for water services to be terminated. So again, it should match what you have in 3A. That should be consistent with 5A. And then the changes to paragraph 6, again, came as a response to the discussion that the board had at the last meeting regarding laying out some framework for appeals that may come for water and sewerage fees and charges. The way that we have broken out the timeline would be that if a individual was going to want to appeal, that they would need to do so within 15 days of the invoice. The village public works director, treasurer, and village president would then review the appeal. And if they determined that a credit or waiver was warranted, they could authorize up to $250, no more than 2 times per calendar year. If the property owner was not satisfied with the decision of the public works director, village treasurer, and village president, then the individual could request a hearing before the village board. Right now, the way that the ordinance reads is it's a 7-day time period in which the request for hearing is to be in writing to the village clerk. We'd be amending that to 30 days. So from 7 to 30 days, give people a little bit more time to get that request for hearing in. And then there's a 30-day time frame for the village board to issue their decision. And the reason why we pick 30 days is because usually after we receive that request for hearing, there would be a board meeting within 30 days that we would be able to bring this appeal to. The last paragraph is again just a result of the conversation that the board had about wanting to have some sort of extreme hardship language that would allow someone the opportunity to submit some documentary proof of hardship within 15 days of invoice, and then that would then go to the board, and the board would be able to make a decision about whether or not to waive fines, fees, and termination of service for those who some sort of personal illness, death of a family member, destruction of property, etc. That's how we defined extreme hardship. Happy to answer any questions that you may have, but if I could just get a time frame, or I'm sorry, an amount for that disconnection notice, that's the only piece that would need to be directed. If I could get that tonight, I can actually add that to the ordinance tonight, and it does not need to come to another meeting if you do not want it to.
I have a question. Can somebody refresh my memory as to why we retained the $50 or the monetary amount in this ordinance, given the fact that the average water bill is more than $50 a month?
That it's actually being proposed to be stricken. The $50 is being proposed to be stricken. I'm just asking the board for feedback on what different amount you would want instead.
The original ordinance, why it says $50 or greater, for $50, sorry, is because this ordinance was back written when we were at like $40 for a minimum. And it just never
Right.
got upgraded.
Right,
updated.
but we've all pretty much come to the conclusion that if they're 1 day late paying their 1 month water bill, they've exceeded the $50, right?
Yeah. So we're asking for an
So we
amount.
would have to have an amount that would be equal to or greater than what I would say 45 days of service.
We don't have to have an amount, is what she's saying. So I thought we talked about making it by the time they got to their second missed. Am I misremembering that?
No, you're not misremembering it. There was a lot of debate over what the amount should be and what is an average bill and, is an average bill, for a 4-person household, how much does that usually run? I would highly suggest that there be either a clear language that says when you're 2 months past due, okay, or a specific amount you put in the ordinance. The problem with being 2 months past due is that by the time then we're getting notices out and we're going through the process of shut off, you're going to have accounts that are going to be 3 and 4 months past due before you're actually able to effectuate a shut off. So that's why, choosing a benchmark amount that you're comfortable with is probably the way to go.
The other thing I'd like to add to what that's saying is that it's very difficult in the reporting mechanism that BSNA offers right now in the utility link module to be able to know by 2 months. That's typically something that we have to go back and manually figure out. So having more of a flat number is a lot easier to be able to identify delinquency of whatever that comfortability of delinquency is.
So in any of our neighboring communities that you have familiarity with, does anybody have a situation or practices where when they become X number of days late on 1 month, that they institute the shut-off process prior to the second month coming due?
Yes.
And this ordinance does not mirror that at all, does it?
Yes, I don't know. That this ordinance has in the past done that. And then there was a change to put in this flat amount of $50. Because again, that was a decision that was made at the time. And again, this ordinance is contemplating that even in the event that any payment is made, if there's a balance of $50, a disconnection notice is then sent. And, what I would say to that is that you can amend the language such that if there's any remaining balance due following the payment deadline that you have, that a disconnection notice be sent. If you are unconcerned, though, about those accounts where maybe someone submitted a payment for $60, not realizing that their account was actually $80, the whole purpose of the benchmark amount was to then eliminate sending shut-off notices for those smaller past due amounts. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And a lot of times in municipalities, the water department or sewer department, they're just using their judgment, right? Even though the ordinance says that a disconnection notice will be sent for any remaining balance that is past due after the 20th day or the 30th day, whatever the ordinance says, they're using their judgment and realizing that that account is going to get caught up in the next month, right? So I do suggest that you pick an amount that you're comfortable with, so that there is a direction to staff as to when disconnection notices be sent.
What's, something like this in one of the other municipalities that you oversee, what's their basic rate for sending?
Well, again, that is, I think, what I was just trying to outline is in the other municipalities that have either sewer systems or water and sewer systems, I've seen 150 before they'll send a shut-off notice. I've seen accounts where it didn't matter how much the amount was. If it was more than 30 days past due, they automatically, because their system is set up that way, there's a past due notice that is sent. So it is really all over the board.
Yeah, can you explain to me, I'm sorry, why it's difficult in BSNA? To me, it's like if you have a bill and you don't pay it, that should flag it, right? Why is it manual? Or like, why is it easier to do a flat dollar amount? I'm just confused about the system.
I don't have all the ins and outs, but what I can tell you is the reports that have been given to me are always run on a dollar amount of delinquency. And then what they do is they go back and tell me how many months that delinquency is. I have not seen a reporting mechanism that dictates only show me a 1 month behind. So,
It just seems odd to me that it wouldn't just be flagged,
and,
like.
well, and to be honest, with our BSNA
Municipal
upgrade
software.
anyway, there's some more training that's going to happen. So that may be a possibility when they do the upgrade. But right now we've been using $150 or more to do disconnection notices. Now, if they're still late, before that 150, they're still receiving their penalty notices. They're still receiving those charges on their accounts. It's just the disconnection notice we don't typically send until $150.
Well, how many calls monthly are we looking at?
So if we ballpark, so at 150, we typically average anywhere between 12 and 20. If you're going to go lower, obviously that number is going to increase. At 100, you're going to see about 30, 35 a month. And if you go higher than that, if we stayed at this $50 as the ordinance was originally written, like last month, it was 66. That number I don't have off the top of my head, but I know we just reconciled those and there is not many of them. Any other questions?
I would be in favor of setting a dollar figure on this that was greater than the 110, and there's a reason for that, but not to exceed 175. So this gives you a little more room on the 150, so that might change the numbers around a little bit. But if somebody gets a $75 water bill and they don't pay it, they get shut off. Okay, so there's a $110 shut-off fee, but if they have $80 to pay the water bill, they're still under the 175 cap. You see what I'm saying on the 110, how the 110 greater than the 110 plays into it? You don't want to keep their water shut off because of the resulting shut-off fee, but that shut-off fee could be something that could possibly be worked out in some sort of a payment arrangement or, something of that sort. I don't think that anybody should ever have to go without water. And people do have hard times. But then on the other side of that coin, we have a responsibility to try to keep control of it, so.
We also have to keep in mind that they are sending notice before the water is shut off. So they're aware of it before it happens. You know what I mean?
And do we have a mechanism in place to work with them before it gets shut off?
Yes.
Okay.
It's in the bottom of the order.
And I'll be honest, the office staff does everything in their power to work with people to help them come into compliance and be current as much as possible. I mean, we're flexible, but we've also had people abuse it, and when we discover that abuse, we remove that ability for abuse. But so
Right. And like I say, I don't believe that anybody should ever have to go without water, especially during a hardship. But we have to be able to find a way to kind of put mechanisms of control in place. So I mean, the 150 is fine. We've been using and it's been working. If the numbers seem to be in a realm that is manageable for negotiation, that's fine with me. But I say it needs to be more than $50. It needs to be more than 110, but it definitely can't be, a situation where somebody has a water softener that goes bad, and this happens, and sometimes it's unknown, and they're hit with an additional expense that they're not expecting or didn't budget for.
well, that's what the right to appeal is for. We've put in that provision so that in those circumstances, which we've had somewhere, there has been, unknown leak or whatever, and it's caused this massive bill that they're not expecting, they can do that right to appeal. And a lot of times we'll grant what we can grant based on the circumstances.
Would there be a consensus for 150?
Yeah.
I just need someone then to make a motion to amend the ordinance to 150.
I'll second that.
By Jeff, and second by Dave. All right, and that we need a amendment, voice.
Yep, we need a.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Excellent. So that amendment. Okay, we have a roll call vote.
Dave Hallgood,
Yes.
Owen Costanza, Jeff Goings, Dan Cheek,
Yes.
Sine Hubbard.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, just for the clerk, was there an original motion and a second for the original ordinance? Okay,
Yeah.
thanks. Sorry.
So the ordinance 2025-22 passes as amended.
Thank you.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay. Motion to discuss and approve ordinance 2025-24, an ordinance implementing municipal grocery retailers occupation tax and a municipal grocery service occupation tax for the village of Poplar Grove.
Motion to approve ordinance 2025-24.
Motion by Dave.
Second.
Second by Dan. Would you lead off, Roxanne, please?
I'd be happy to go over this. So, as the board is aware, the municipality currently receives a 1% municipal grocery retailer's occupation tax. Previously, it has been collected by the state of Illinois and then dispersed to all Illinois municipalities. The General Assembly last year passed legislation to eliminate that collection and instead require municipalities to pass ordinances to continue to receive the municipal grocery tax. I think that this one doesn't work, right? You want me to use this one?
Try it.
This is the one.
No,
Okay,
try it.
you want me to use the handheld one? Okay. So the municipal grocery tax, in order for Poplar Grove to be able to continue to receive it, you would need to pass this ordinance. I know that there has been some discussion at other municipalities that I represent in the past, and I think even here about, well, maybe we could do something less than 1%. I have confirmed with the statute and with the Illinois Municipal League that the legislation that allows municipalities to continue to receive the grocery tax only allows municipalities to pass an ordinance at the full rate of 1%. You are not allowed to vary from the statutory language, and so it's 1% or nothing. If you decide at this time not to pass this ordinance, we will miss the window for January collection. That does not mean that you cannot decide to change your mind down the road and decide to implement the tax again at a later date. It's just that you would lose 6 months of collection because you have to provide notice to the Illinois Department of Revenue in October for January collection, or we would have to provide notice, I believe, sometime in the spring then for a fall collection in 2026. Once you pass an ordinance, if you decide to pass an ordinance, it will remain in place until an ordinance is passed revoking the tax at a later date. If you do decide that you're no longer going to have your 1% grocery tax, I would highly suggest that you at a future meeting take a look at your budget and decide in 2026 how you're going to account for that lost revenue. Because you do currently receive this revenue coming from the state of Illinois. You do have obviously some stores like Dollar General and a grocery store in town. And so if you make the decision that you're no longer going to receive this tax, you're going to want to make sure that you then account for that because you'll have less revenue coming in. And I can answer any questions anyone may have.
So with this, I guess the easy way to phrase the question is, with or without this ordinance, is it going to have any change in the taxation to the residents?
Yes, if you do not pass the ordinance, you will no longer have a grocery tax of 1%, a municipal grocery tax of 1% in the village of Poplar Grove.
So that is 1% that stays here in the community.
That is correct. It's collected in the community and comes to the community.
Christie?
I just want to specify, just for the board's reference, the dollar amount that we talked about in the past based on the Illinois Department of Revenue, the last 2 years was 120,000 and 112,000 respectively.
So it's currently being paid, it's been being paid by the taxpayers. So it's not like it's something new. It's just who's going to control it is new. It was controlled by the state, now it's just controlled internally by the municipality. But it's not like we're adding a new tax. It's the same tax that existed.
Only for the past.
It's in 2020, wasn't it?
Very, very long time. Very long time.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's been, my personal opinion is somebody's running for governor again and decided to get rid of it for their new election. That's my opinion. So it's not like we're stating anything that hasn't already been happening. That's a big chunk of change to lose. We said 120, on the high end. We just, we just approved some pretty good wage hikes with the union. Expenses keep going up. Diesel goes up for mowing lawn, diesel goes up for the plow trucks. Fuel, it doesn't seem to be getting for diesel anyways. It seems to be pretty much consistent. But I would say, it's like, I don't see our bills getting any cheaper. And like I said, since it's already been happening, it's not like we're adding it. Good, go ahead.
With this tax, if it's passed, can it be designated like we did the gaming money for something only? Or does it have to go into the general fund?
No, this money goes into the general.
Okay, does it have to be the 1%? Can we say we want to have percent?
No, I confirm with the Illinois Municipal League who wrote the legislation and the state statute, it has to be a rate of 1%. If we send an ordinance to the Illinois Department of Revenue at anything less than 1% or greater than 1%, they will not collect anything for you.
So realistically, we have two choices. We keep the $100,000 in our general fund, or we don't keep it in our general fund, and we try to determine where we're going to cover that shortfall in the future.
But how do we know we have a shortfall with it?
Right.
We have money in reserves. How do we know we have a shortfall without?
I'm not
We're
saying,
making accusations that we don't know.
so you could have a shortfall, but you are talking about taking $100,000 out of your budget.
I understand that. And once it's done, but do we keep Illinois is so overtaxed as it is? Should we try to give our residents, if we don't have a shortfall where it's noticeable, should we try to give that back to the residents?
I agree. We're taxed enough.
Yeah.
We finally have an opportunity where the state is backing down. And we should let everybody have a reprieve.
Any other questions? Can we have a roll call, please?
Owen Costanza,
No.
Sine Hubbard,
No,
Jeff Goings,
No.
Mark, oh, he's not here, sorry. Dan Cheek,
Yes.
Dave Allgood.
No.
Ordinance 2025-24 fails. All right. On to new business. Motion to discuss and approve check disbursement for payment scheduled to be paid September the 12th, 2025 in the amount of $138,076.16 in AP checks, $26,933.30 in EFTs, $17,663.23 in insurance, and an estimated payroll of $16,645.48 for a total of $199,138.17.
Move to approve total disbursements of $199,138.17.
Motion by Dave,
Second.
second by Jeff. Any questions? on any of the items in the invoice register? Okay, may we have a roll call, please?
Dan Cheek. Owen Costanza. Jeff Goings.
Yes.
Dave Allgood.
Yes.
Sine Hubbard.
Yes.
Wonderful. Check disbursement of $199,138.17 passes. Motion to discuss and approve ordinance 2025-25, an ordinance of the Village of Poplar Grove, amending Title I Administration, Chapter 6, Village Officers and Employees of the Village of Poplar Grove, Code of Ordinances to create the Office of Village Collector. Motion by Owen,
Second?
second by Dave. Yeah. We have
Karen?
a comment?
Karen Nyberg.
Yes, when I read this over, I had some questions, and so I thought I would just put in my 2 cents before we started. It says that it's a new city collector is a full-time position, which to me means it's 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week. And this is somebody who is working on receiving money and collecting money. My first question then is, we still don't have a treasurer. Wouldn't this be part of a treasurer's position? Rather than having, I go up and I pay my water bill and the clerk takes the money. And so I don't see how this position would be 40 hours of doing something. Then I read further on that the position would be run by the city clerk. And then I have a full-time job as city collector, and I don't know what the city clerk is, but whatever she is doing, she or he is doing, that would be an additional amount. So we have somebody working more than 40 hours on this. In addition, what I really have trouble with is how you can conflate an employee who is a full-time employee with benefits with an elected position. You have to have one or the other, I would think. Either you get rid of an elected clerk, have an employee to cover all these things, or you have the clerk. Well, yeah, you know what I'm saying. I don't see how you can put the two together to make the clerk now a full-time position, which I'm assuming that's the purpose of this. And I would imagine there's more of a salary to it. It just seems like it's not thought through, and there's some real questions about elected versus an employee being under the one or the other jurisdiction. So when you discuss, I'd like to have that follow through. By the way, if you're going to have a full-time city collector, I know some people who would be very interested in that position. So you would be advertising, but it sounds to me like you've already chosen the person. So I have lots of questions on it. So thank you.
Thank you. All right. Any discussion on this item?
Well, this isn't nothing abnormal. This is allowed in the state. There are multiple clerks and collectors throughout our state. I was going to ask Roxanne if she'd give us like a little commentary on it to maybe answer some of your questions.
Sure. So the collector position in the Illinois Municipal Code is the one position that allows for another elected office to serve in an appointed role. And so in this particular circumstance, our office was directed to draft an ordinance creating a village collector position, but then rather than having that village collector be an additional individual working in Village Hall, the direction was that to draft the ordinance similar to other municipalities where the village clerk would then serve in the collector role. It is the only position under state statute that I am aware of where the clerk could also serve as the collector. There are other positions in municipal government that are served by the same individual. For example, your village president serves as your liquor commissioner. there's, I think maybe a handful of others, but in this particular circumstance, the way that the statute is drafted is that it allows for the village clerk to also serve as the village collector. It doesn't have to be. You could have a standalone village collector position that is hired separately, or alternatively, you can have a village collector position where the village clerk serves as the collector. The collector position is different from the village treasurer in that it is separating duties for checks and balance purposes as it relates to the receipt of revenue. So it doesn't change the treasurer position in terms of the treasurer still being required to handle monthly reporting and to handle accounts payable and things of that nature. And those duties are being handled now for you, even in the absence of an individual being appointed as your village treasurer. Sikich is providing those duties with their employee. So the collector position is responsible for essentially the collection of revenue and reporting that collection of revenue then to the village treasurer, and then obviously on to the board. There's a couple other duties that are outlined in the ordinance that was prepared. Those duties come specific from the statute. They also are in line with other ordinances in which a village collector is serving in a dual role as clerk and collector. With regard to the number of hours, the way that the ordinance has been drafted is that the collector position would be a full-time 40-hour-a-week job. I would note that all of the elected officials that sit up in the dais, none of them have a requirement to work any number of hours per week, per day, per month for the village of Poplar Grove. None of them. Some of them hold regular office hours or put in certain number of hours, but that really is dependent on that particular elected official's choice. There is no requirement under the Illinois Municipal Code that the village president work a certain number of hours a week, or that village trustees work a certain number of hours a week, or that a village clerk work a certain number of hours a week. So, in communities in which there is the village clerk also serving as collector, I believe every village clerk / collector that you would talk to would tell you that village clerk duties are done during the week at the same time that village collector duties are being done. It's just the nature of the joint position that, the hours are clearly going to be interwoven. Obviously, when the village clerk is attending meetings in the evenings, those are village clerk duties and not collector duties. So those are not hours in which like any overtime would be paid, because that's for that village clerk role, which is already receiving compensation as an elected official role. Happy to answer any questions that you may have.
No, I'm just going to ask some questions that might help answer some of your questions. Okay, so the collector's position is an appointed position to recognize as an officer, not as an employee, correct?
No, the collector position, the way that the ordinance is drafted is it is an office. It is an office under Illinois law. And the way the ordinance is drafted is that the village clerk would automatically serve as the collector. Now, if down the road, again, let's just assume for argument's sake that this ordinance passes, okay? If for some reason it wasn't working out and the village board was of the opinion that the village clerk should no longer serve as the collector, the ordinance could be amended at that time and the positions could be separated. But it will always be an office, of which then would be subject to, some sort of appointment then if your village clerk wasn't serving as your collector. Because it's an office under the Illinois Municipal Code.
So if we have a village clerk / collector and they run for election, don't get reelected, that collector's position is automatically replaced by the new clerk?
That is correct, yes. And if that individual did not want to serve in the dual village clerk, village collector role, then what would need to happen is the board would have to take action to amend the ordinance.
And you
at that
could-
time.
And you could keep the collector's position with the same person of the prior clerk if need be, correct?
That would be up to the board at that time.
Okay,
That it would
it's
be an
more
appointment of the village president with advice and consent of the village board.
Correct.
Right, so that would mean that if the current collector did not get elected, current collector or clerk did not get reelected, the ordinance would have to be changed in order to retain
That is
the current
correct.
collector
Yes.
after the election. That make sense?
Because what if the new clerk wants to be the collector and clerk?
It's automatic right now with the way the ordinance is written.
So why wouldn't we put a stipulation now in the ordinance so we wouldn't have to change it? We're on consent of the board and the president. If they're not working out, they could just be removed.
You can do that anyway.
Right.
So if for some
Oh, I
reason,
thought you said we had to change the ordinance at the time. that came
well,
out.
again, the way that the ordinance is drafted under Illinois law, the village clerk can serve as the village collector. That's the only position in which that can be done. If down the road, the village board has a change of opinion on the matter, then you can remove the ordinance altogether so that you don't have a collector position. You can separate the positions if that's what you want to do and have a village clerk position and a village collector position. There are a lot of options for you.
Okay.
But right now, the way that the ordinance is drafted is it only contemplates a joint position because it has to be one or the other.
I get it.
Okay,
For
and
explanation.
in your experience, would it be advantageous for us to have a collector and a treasurer so that those duties were separated for the checks and balances?
Oh, absolutely. I would highly recommend that you move forward with your plans. I know the village president has talked about this in the past of conducting a search to replace the village treasurer. Absolutely.
Dan, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman.
She makes a valid point, and I've thought about this too. If the taxpayers pay these salaries, I think that they should get first dibs at it. I think it should go out for application. If somebody else would like to apply for it, I think that's, should be the right of the residents. Like I said, they're paying the salary. And if nobody applies for it, then we move forward from there. But in my opinion, she is 100% right that the residents should get first crack at it. They're the ones that are paying the salary.
We posted and had nobody.
No. We posted it. You weren't on the board the last time this came up.
He was,
But it was posted at a substantially lower salary. It was posted at a substantially lower salary.
what was substantially lower? 10,000? Yeah, and that's what we were paying the person who's doing the work that she's doing now. That's what Connie was mad.
The last time I looked this, it was November of 22.
2 years ago. And
November of 22. He wouldn't be elected, he wouldn't be sworn in until April of 23, by my math.
yeah.
Other questions?
Christie, do you want to speak on it? I don't know. Well, you'll be working with them, they'll be answering to you.
Yeah, I mean, if I need to say something, I mean, I've had an opportunity to work alongside the clerk. And I conveyed my questions and concerns to the board in our executive session before we got here. I believe that this role can be extremely beneficial. And I've seen, you know, the productivity that we can have when everyone has a clear understanding of their roles and responsibilities and there's some oversight in the office. So I don't have concerns in those regards whatsoever.
Good.
I'm going to ask some really bold questions. Since the position has become open again, a month or so ago, who has been performing those duties?
Are you speaking directly of the loss of the billing clerk that we had before?
Yes.
Okay, so in the accounts payable, yes, the current clerk has been taking on those responsibilities.
Okay. And has the village clerk been compensated for her time to help the village out in that case?
No, sir, that is not, she is not.
So she's been doing the job and hasn't been getting paid for it. Correct.
Any other questions? Can we have a roll call, please?
Dave Allgood,
Yes.
Owen Costanza,
Yes.
Jeff Goings,
Yes.
Dan Cheek,
No.
Sine Hubbard.
No.
Ordinance 2025-25 passes. Okay, let's move on to motion to discuss approve resolution 2025-18, a resolution of the Village of Poplar Grove, Illinois, authorizing the village to approve a collective bargaining agreement between the Village of Poplar Grove and the International Union of Operating Engineers.
Move to approve 2025-18.
Motion by Owen,
Second.
second by Dave. Roxanne, would you just summarize what we've got?
Sure. So in front of you is the proposed agreement that we've tentatively reached with the union that would be effective on May 1st, 2025 through April 30th, 2028. The wages proposed would be retroactive to May 1st, 2025. The red line copy of the contract is in the board packets, including the wage increases as outlined in the spreadsheet on page 20. Your starting salary would move from $21.90 an hour to $23 an hour at the beginning of the contract, and then $23.92 in year 2026, and then $24.88 in year 2027. You would retain a two-step contract with the top rate of pay at the end of 2027 of $26.64. There's also a specific wage chart for the employees that are outlined in the contract that are already employed by the village, and those wages are as specified on that page. We were also able to successfully negotiate some changes to your sick leave language, providing some additional notification provisions to the Public Works Director. And that was after some discussion with the Public Works Director on some clarification language that he was asking for. We also were able to clarify the on-call pay provision, just to indicate while there would be a proposed increase from $125 a week to $150 a week, so an additional $25, there would be a per day calculated basis as well in the event that the on-call position had to switch for someone being ill or numerous reasons why the Public Works Director may have to change out that assignment. Also, under the contract, we would move to a uniform allowance instead of the issuance of uniforms, and there would be an amount associated of $900 for the purchase of the uniforms, and then the boot allowance would go from $250 to $300. The agreement again would terminate in 2028. Happy to answer any questions that you may have, but those were the vast majority of the changes to the contract from a financial basis.
Any questions?
Covered closed session pretty much.
This is a 3-year agreement,
It is.
and this agreement put us at or near comparables?
Yes.
Remember, we don't want to be the training ground. We want our employees to stay.
That's why I asked the question.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Roll call.
Dave Allgood,
Yes.
Jeff Goings. Okay. Dan Cheek,
Yes.
Owen Costanza,
Yes.
Sine Hubbard.
Yes.
Resolution 2025-18 passes. Okay. Motion to discuss possible EFT ACH policy. Motion by Owen,
Second.
second by Sine. Carrie, would you like to lead off with it, please?
All right, so when I took over for AP, I know, hold on, let me get there. Okay. We had my first check run, they got lost for 28 days. We had major late fees. Even before that, because of the way that we were doing second and third meetings instead of second and fourth, we had, we weren't meeting people's terms. So what we're asking is those ones we pay every month, right? ComEd, Comcast, Frontier for now, Nicor, Blue Cross Blue Shield, NSPERS, Humana, our phone system go to. Can we put those on an EFT basis? Including, you guys will still see them. You'll still see them in that check run, but instead of us printing a physical check, it will come off as direct deposit through them. So I put a sample policy that I kind of come up with in the packet. Thoughts, we wanted to add to that policy Blue Cross, Humana, and NSPERS, which is your union dues, right? That's no life insurance,
Yeah. Life
and then union dues are already
Yeah.
EFTs.
Any questions?
I mean, it'll still be in the
It'll still be,
report, so
and
it
like,
doesn't matter if it's paper or if it's electronic, it's getting paid regardless.
It's actually cheaper. if it's like-
Yeah, without
Yes.
no paper, no stamps.
no
Yeah.
stamps. And Home Depot, for example, actually gives us like I don't know, it's like 2% or some credit.
2%.
But you know what? At the end of the year,
It's like
that's an
$2,000.
extra tool for, the
It
guy.
was like
It's
$2,000.
2025, let's send ACHs.
Okay,
It's the obvious.
all right.
All right, did you see if there's any adjustments to, and this is just a discussion, so if there's any, a language or suggestion changes to the policies that have been provided, let us know and we'll bring it back.
And if there's more you want to add to it, just kind of update us at the
Yeah.
next meeting.
Well, this will have to be passed by resolution, so it'll come back to you. And we'll add, we didn't think, we already paid Blue Cross Blue Shield via EFT, so we forgot to add it.
Yeah.
So we'll add like those ones.
That's because they get paid with payroll.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and Stickage has been doing payroll, so that's why. Okay, great. So there's a consensus to move forward with any. Awesome. Last but not least, motion to discuss, approve Village of Poplar Grove Fall 2025 newsletter.
Second.
Motion by Owen, second by Jeff, okay. Any questions, thoughts? Good. Okay, my only thing, and today that's something we can talk about going forward is whether or not you guys want to continue doing this. I've done this, it doesn't take me very long. So, I mean, if you guys want to use your time to do other fun projects, like the office staff at this point could probably take this on with me because I would end up doing it for them. But the other question is whether or not you want to continue to see it here, or if it's something we're at a point where we could just simply, I could send this out just to the board ahead of time. You could say yay or nay, and we could just take care of it.
I think it's just factual, right? I
Yeah.
don't know that the board needs to approve this.
It was a new concept with the communications committee when we started, which is why it came to the board for their input. So if there's that level of comfortability at this point, then that's how we'll proceed.
If there's anything bad, it comes back on. If it's not factual, it comes back.
That's
on
true.
Sunday.
That's true.
So,
No lie.
okay, great. Well, then that's how we'll proceed. Then, no, I'll still handle the newsletter side. The communications committee can handle new projects then. So, but then you'll just get this when it comes out ahead of time in your village activities letters for thoughts. Okay? I was told we need to go back.
We do. We're gonna need to go back to item 7 on the agenda, ordinance 2025-25. My recollection of the vote total was that it was 3 in favor and 2 against. I am cautious that that is actually not enough of a vote in order for that ordinance to successfully pass. I'll have to double check the statute, which I do not have in front of me this evening, but just in my quick check sheet, that I have saved here in my drive, it does appear as though this is a ordinance that would require an affirmative vote of 4 in order to pass. Obviously, we're missing a trustee this evening, and we had 2 votes that were in favor. So my legal opinion as of this evening is that the motion actually fails, that the ordinance failed because it did not receive an affirmative vote of 4. I think an affirmative vote of 4 is what would be required in order to pass this ordinance. I could be wrong, so I'll certainly, try to check that out between this evening and tomorrow. But if this is something that the board wants to come back on an agenda again, you can certainly do that to give Trustee Vance an opportunity then to vote on it as well.
Is this not a case where the village president can vote?
The village president can vote in the instance of a tie and in the instance in which a vote of greater than a majority would be required. So if in this case a 2/3 vote is indeed required, which it appears as though it is, you could actually recall the item and revote and call for the vote of the village president. The village president does not have to vote. It is up to the village president as to whether or not the village president wants to exercise the village president's right to vote. But yes, you are correct. In the instance in which greater than a majority is required, the village president's vote can be called. And when this vote took place, I should have at that time instructed the clerk that the village president's at least ability to vote be given.
So can we have to wait till the next meeting?
You do not have to wait until the next meeting.
So can we,
You can call it now.
so we can,
Move that recall the vote.
I'll second.
And now I make notes.
Is there a possibility of deferring this item to another meeting? After the discussion, it seems like, and I'm sorry, because I'm reopening discussion, but it sounds like there are opportunities to staff differently and maybe more appropriately for the village. And so I don't know if that's something that we have an opportunity to take back and post that position differently first before we vote on this ordinance.
We have posted it twice. In prior times.
I understand, I heard you. But that's all, I'm just asking.
Right now we have a motion to recall, correct?
And we're in discussion on that motion. If we do defer till the next meeting, what happens if we're missing a trustee? We're in the same boat.
Same thing, yeah.
There are some that where work or whatnot is going to interfere and has, and we recognize that. So, I mean, I don't know, it's kind of one of those things, do you defer and run the risk of having another failed vote situation? Or do you run the risk of being right back where we are right now in 2.5 weeks, missing one trustee?
Or do we start compensating the person that's been doing the work all along?
Let's just vote.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Well, I say that, and that's kind of, a touchy spot for me too, a little bit. And I don't think anybody should
So we're-
put forth a good effort to further the cause of somebody else and not be compensated for it.
And she has the backing of our village president. So I want to support my village president.
There was a motion for recall.
Second the motion.
Did I hear that? By Owen.
Oh, Dave, second, I'm sorry.
It was seconded by Dave. Okay, so that motion to recall allows us to vote again. Is that correct?
That
I
would
wanna
bring
make
the item back to the table
Okay.
again.
Okay.
And then there would, you
Okay.
would need to have then a new vote on that original item.
Okay.
We have to make a motion to have the president vote,
No, you don't have to make a motion to have the president vote. No. So for this motion to recall item number 7, you're just voting to essentially bring the item back to the table for discussion and a new vote.
And the statute's clear on this time?
Again, I believe that this is an item that requires a 2/3 vote, and it does not pass with a vote of 3-2.
And I believe that you're correct from previous conversations.
I'd like to emphasize that I think that there are other staff members that have been doing a significant amount of work and that there should be appraisals and evaluations brought up very quickly then right after this, because we should be evaluating the entire office.
I don't disagree with that at all, looking at, the status of everything that's gone on over the last year, 2 years, 3 years, and looking at, comparables and comparisons. Like Jeff said, do we want to be the training ground and basically the municipal university and lose all of our employees to other municipalities? Or do we want to work with and retain good quality people that want to spend the time here, and make this a community they can call home, a great place to call home. So yeah, I mean, this would be the first step in saying, this is something we got to do. But I think that we're all probably sharp enough to understand that when you're going through a collective bargaining agreement and you're looking at ordinances to create a complex position like this and a whole bunch of things that are going on, that you have to do things in a logical order so that you don't create inherent problems with tasks you're currently working on. And I think that currently we have brought these in that correct order. We just completed the collective bargaining agreement. Now we're resolving this collector clerk situation, and then immediately after that, we can start addressing the other issues that you just mentioned, Trustee Hubbard.
Just for the record, if you look at our executive session, there is personnel listed on there. I'm prepared to have those conversations in that executive session.
So the first vote again is just the motion to recall the item. If we could have a roll call vote on that, please.
Jeff Goings, Dave Allgood,
Yes.
Sine Hubbard,
No.
Owen Costanza,
Yes.
Dan Cheek.
No.
So the matter did, the recall passed with a simple majority. Now we'll need a vote on the original ordinance, assuming that the vote goes the same way that it did last time. The clerk can call a vote of the village president, and the village president can decide whether or not the village president wishes to vote on the item.
Dan Cheek,
No.
Dave Allgood,
Yes.
Sine Hubbard,
No.
Mark Vance. Oh, sorry. Owen Costanza,
Yes.
Jeff Goings,
Yes.
Christy Richardson.
Yes.
The matter now passes with an affirmative vote.
All right. For the good of the village. Board of Trustee meeting on September the 24th, 2025 at 7 p.m. Board of Trustee meeting October 8th, 2025 at 7 p.m. We've got another one on October 22nd, 7 o'clock. Trick or treating is October 31st, 2025 from 4 till 7 p.m. Motion to go into executive session pursuant to 5 Illinois CS 120/2, C personnel, the appointment, employment compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, 5 Illinois CS 120/2, C 11, pending litigation when an action against affecting or on behalf of the particular body, public body has been filled and is pending before the court or administrative tribunal, or when the public body finds that an action is probable or imminent. Need a motion, guys.
So moved.
Thank you, Dave. Second by Owen. We have to have a roll call on.
Yes.
Thank you.
Jeff Goings, Owen Costanza, Sine Hubbard,
Yes.
Dan Cheek,
Yes.
Dave Allgood.
Yes.
Okay, I've got an executive session, 8:05.
elected position, Illinois employee. And all benefits of an employee.
They directed that it be a full-time position in the ordinance, so yes, it's a pensionable position.
The elected position is now an employee.
Correct, yes.
And
The,
anybody running for this position of city clerk would then automatically
be
become
the collector,
any.
correct, yes.
If you run for the city clerk,
Right.
you become an employee.
You'd be the
Um,
collector also, which is
back into open session at 8:38, Wednesday, September the 10th. Roll call.
Dan Cheek, Owen Costanza, Dave Allgood, Sine Hubbard, Jeff Goings,
Yes.
Christy Richardson,
Here.
Roxanne Sosnowski.
Great. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn by Jeff Goings.
Jeff? Second by Owen. All in favor?
Aye. Have a good night, everyone.
We're adjourned at 8:38.
Hi, hideout, Roxanne's buying.